Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Virtual College Exploration Night for all Wisconsin students, sponsored by WACAC, the Wisconsin Association of College Admission Counseling. My name is Tej Matil, a volunteer and member of WACAC, and I'm here with my friend Sadie from Northland College. You are in the session for Northland College today. There's four things I would like to highlight before I turn it over. First, as a participant, how do you ask questions? You'll see a Q&A box at the bottom. You can type questions in at any time. Only the presenters will see your questions. Your camera and microphone are turned off, so Sadie cannot see you or hear you. So if you answer a question, she won't know. And if you are laughing because she's uproariously funny, you don't have to worry about disrupting the flow. You can sign up for more sessions. There's one more night of these at wacac.com. But also know that the recording for this and other sessions will be available at wacac.com. And I would encourage you to check that out. There are sessions about how to write the college essay and other aspects to help you through the college search process. So with that, I will turn it over to Sadie, and thank you all for coming.
Beautiful, thank you so much. Alrighty, I'm gonna set my screen here so y'all can see what I'm seeing. So I guess I'll start off with an introduction to myself. So my name is Sadie, like Teja said there. I'm originally from the Madison area, but moved up to Northland College in 2014. So I am an alumni of this school, major in sustainable community development. Other things to know, my pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm an admissions counselor with this school. So any questions, like Teja said, put them in the chat as far as admissions, financial aid, or just the school in general. That's awesome too. So today I hope to, in the next 25 minutes or so, introduce the what, the where, the why, and the who is Northland. Please feel free, like I said, to leave any questions, and we'll address those in the other section, the second half of this presentation here. So we'll start off with the basics. Northland College, as you can see on this photo here, was founded in 1892, so quite a while back now. We're a community of over 600 students from 29 different states, and actually a handful of different countries as well. So next up would be the where, as far as where is Northland. If you're from Wisconsin, you know the hand, right? Goodness, my hand is looking funny there, but we are at the tippy top, right on the shore of Lake Superior. So we're in the city of Ashland, Wisconsin. You can see the city here. We're on the Chequamegon Bay. Ashland, you can see as well, is population about 8,200 people. So Northland, you can see in this photo, is just kind of on the outskirts of Ashland, which I think is worth knowing. And then as you kind of go in and toward the lake, there's the entire city there. So a downtown is kind of right within walking distance of campus. So our main campus, before we move on, is about 100 acres in size. So from the end of the stadium there to across the street where the baseball fields are as well. Just for the record, our borders are just the beginning of campus, of course. So with the city of Ashland to our north and Lake Superior, and then with the Chequamegon National Forest to our south, there's hundreds of millions of acres of fun things to do around where we are. The city itself has a lot of historic buildings, cozy restaurants, cafes, the Chequamegon Food Co-op, shameless plug, is one of my favorite places in the Northwoods as well as paved biking and walking trails for outdoor recreation as well. So zooming back into the college, this is Wheeler Hall, which used to be the entire campus. We're, what it says there, an enduring classic. So we're a liberal arts institution, which is one of the original types of education of a free person. We do, though, have a twist. So each of our graduates take courses in the arts and humanities, social sciences, and environmental sciences as a part of their general education requirements. This is 100% on purpose, and it's a part of this environmental mission that we've got. So our unique perspective, like I said, we're committed to the environmental education, and it's been recognized by organizations all around the country and actually all around the world. So just a couple are highlighted here: Sierra Magazine's Cool Schools, the Real Food Challenge, the STARS Sustainability. We were actually named #1 in curriculum for sustainability. And we're also a member of Eco League, which is a consortium of 6 schools across the country, all smaller schools with environmental focuses like us. And you can go and exchange with them. So take a semester at a time at these other schools with your tuition and financial aid actually applying to those schools as well. So here's a peek at our programs as well. We've got over 40 academic programs spanning from the arts to the sciences, and then some really Northland specific types of programs like outdoor education and sustainable community development. Our newest minors are sustainable agriculture, sports management, that's them. And then the newer one here is climate change studies. So like I said, we're right there on the shore of Lake Superior, and this really underwrites just about everything that we do. It's really central to our sense of place. So it's actually just about 10 blocks from campus. So really relatively short walk to go catch a sunset, to go take a walk along the lake, or if you're adventurous, potentially some stand-up paddle boarding, some swimming in the right season, maybe some ice fishing in the other section, of course, of the year. But yeah, Lake Superior is the biggest freshwater lake in the world by surface area. So it's 350 miles long and about the size of North Carolina. It can hold all of the other Great Lakes in bulk, in volume, and then some. And it's actually so vast that it creates its own weather patterns. On the shore of Lake Superior, you'll spend some time in some pretty cool ecosystems. So pictured here is Sarah Johnson and one of her students on the shore of Lake Superior. Sarah Johnson is actually involved in an international group on climate change and coastal wetlands, thinking about things like this, like these dunes and these coastal plants. Just in case you're wondering, this little square there, it's called a quadrat. It's used in ecology to measure populations in small areas like that. So you can really focus in, even though you're on this massive lake shore, on just a really small area. Of course, beyond academics, you'll find tons of recreation opportunities on the big lake. Kayaking, sailing, stand-up paddleboarding, and fishing are some of those. Not to mention, of course, dog sledding. Like I said, the Chequamegon National Forest is surrounding campus toward the south, and there's lots of opportunities to take advantage of the winter time that way. Cross-country skiing is my personal favorite. So over the past 125 or so years, Northland has really developed this style of education that really thrives in this outdoor space. Most notably, this is thinking about the experiential learning on campus. So it can be in the field, it can be in the lab, or it can be in the city of Ashland. And I'll show you a couple photos that way too. So here's in town. These are workers for the CRC, or Center for Rural Communities, doing a survey on small downtowns or rural small communities and what kind of assets make them thrive. Of course, in the lab, like I said, working firsthand, this happens starting your freshman year. So you can get in and really get to know the things that you're learning about. So it's not necessarily just opening up a book and reading through the theories, knowing the chemical composition, but understanding what that material is in front of you. And of course, the arts and humanities is another big part of that. So we do have an art studio or multiple art studios in our art building on campus. And you get to know, like I said, those things firsthand right away. So another really important part of Northland is our strong sense of community. You can see that it starts right away. These folks here are in a class, but before you even get started with your time in the classroom, you go on an outdoor orientation experience. So you get a couple of days to really spend some time in a low stress environment, getting to know the National Forest, the Great Lake, and your peers, and really get to know just what Northland's all about before, like I said, even starting up on your courses. So while you get to do that out in your classrooms, it's also before you even get started. It also extends to our athletics teams. We have about 14, actually exactly 14 varsity sports, with about 38% of our students participating in varsity athletics. And of course, at the heart of the education are your professors. So we have a 10-to-1 student-faculty ratio, and our professors, your class size averages at about 15. And the professors are more than just the person talking at the end of the lecture hall, but rather are there, like this is Professor Kate Allman here, pictured standing up. They're there to really converse with you and to engage, for you to ask the questions and for them to help provide answers, but then also kind of take that and dive deep, really investigate topics that are important to you. They get to learn, grow, and live right alongside you, all the way up to graduation, this is one of my favorite photos too. In the back, in the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see Professor Tom Fitz and Professor Brian Tochterman, and they're riding with our graduates on their way to graduation, riding their bikes, like I said, just right alongside them. So I've got a quote here from Professor Michelle Small, and she definitely said it best. She says, "I love that Northland College is a school where you can know your students by their names, where you can do your job in depth, giving 100%, expecting the same in return, and reaping the rewards as you see real progress in students' growth and development." She's been teaching here for over 47 years, so to hold that opinion is a pretty high regard. So here's some information on our application as well. For starters, it is free. There's no letters of recommendation nor an essay required. You can email or upload a copy of your transcripts to us here. Not here, but via email. And then if you are unable to take the ACT or SAT due to COVID, no worries. You can absolutely submit your application without your test. And starting about midway through this month, the application review process will take about 2 weeks. So a little bit of a rundown on scholarships and financial aid, of course, as well. Our cost of attendance is about $50,000, so $49,000 per year, but nobody pays that much, literally. 100% of our students receive financial aid. So the academic merit scholarships this year start at about $18,000 per year. And then you can also earn additional merit scholarships on top of that number. Of course, if you're able to file the free application for federal student aid, please do. It will qualify you for on-campus work, study, federal grants, loans, and more. And that is what I've got here today. Here's some information, of course, if you do want to kind of go out on your own and do a little bit of research about Northland. So we will pause and, like I said, open up that question and answer kind of section. If y'all can make your way up to the Q&A portion, and then I will start answering some questions here. Alrighty. So what are Northland's most popular majors? Northland, so being an environmental science school, we do have a number of students in that traditional environmental science type of degree. So if we were to lump those together, it'd be things like biology, natural resources, potentially water science, chemistry, things like that. So that's kind of our top. And then actually shortly after those traditional environmental sciences are things like business and sustainable community development and sociology. So a pretty good mix that way. Next question, what is the average weekend like for a student at Northland? That is such a good question, Justin. It really depends. It depends on the season for starters. So obviously, like I said before, you're not gonna go swimming in the big lake come December. So in that way, it might look a little bit different. But definitely getting out and recreating outdoors is a big part of the Northland weekend. So for me as a student, that meant finding new places to hike in the National Forest. I was definitely a big hiker. A rock climbing club, it's called Rocktober. It's the month of October where every weekend there's a different rock climbing outing, as well as our sailing club and birding club as well. We'll get out on the weekends and do kind of events that way. But there's also more kind of indoor activities that are around. Like I've gone bowling in the next town over with friends. And then students also do things like movie nights, crafting nights, and there's live music about once a month on campus. Though this year, obviously, it looks a little bit different, but getting out and dancing is also a lot of fun. Alrighty. Next question here. What is the main deciding factor for acceptance at Northland? So we will primarily look at your high school transcript to make an answer very short. So taking a look at your GPA and what courses you were really successful in. Of course, if you've got those test scores as well, though, we will factor in GPA, test scores, and class rank as kind of the three big ones. Good question. I'm gonna take a quick sip, hold on. Yeah, don't be shy. Feel free, like I said, to ask any questions here about the admissions process. I know we covered a little bit of that here about financial aid, clubs and organizations, things like that. Another question I get a lot is about work study and just kind of what is available as far as working on campus. You should know we have every single student is guaranteed work study if they want it, if they're able to work in the United States. So in that way, there are lots of options. So you can do things that range from, like myself, I worked in the reuse room on campus as work study, which is a free thrift store, meaning that you can go in and kind of grab whatever you need in your world. So I did that, kind of managing that space and the volunteers there, to folks that work in the library, in the fitness center, managing other programs like the bike shop is also pretty common. Like I noted too with the CRC, the Center for Rural Communities, our centers also have, of course, student workers there. So some examples would be the CRC doing survey work or working at the computer with data entry, potentially working at the Burke Center, same deal, but the Burke Center is for freshwater innovation. So going out onto Lake Superior or into kind of the waterways around here or in the lab. And then also our Sigurd Olson Environmental Institute, which houses quite a few different programs, from our Outdoor Pursuits program to the Sigurd Olson just in general and the Outpost. So getting students outside, potentially working at the rock wall or at the Outpost, which is a free or a gear rental shop on campus as well.
Well, Sadie, it looks like that wraps up the questions. So we will close out unless there are any more that pop up. But Sadie, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Time to tell us more about Northland. I am going to close out with just a few last things for our participants. First first and foremost, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Sadie, for joining us. For the participants, you'll get a quick survey after the session. After you close the window, actually, a 4-question survey will appear. As I said earlier, you can sign up for more sessions at wacac.com, and the recordings of this and other sessions are available for you at any time. With that, I wish you all well. Thank you and have a good night.
Take care.